Good morning, my name is Fauji Rajalian. In this video, I'll be giving a brief explanation about 5 English periods, including Old English period, Medieval era, Renaissance and Reformation era, Revolution and Restoration era, and the 18th century. First, the Old English period. The history of literature in Britain begins with Old English, also known as Anglo-Saxons. Since the Romans invaded Britain, the literature has been passed down orally and has been written down only by seldom. Poets, passing gods, war songs, heroes, and their commanders were all part of the literature. The Angles and Saxons arrived in Britain for the first time in the 5th century. Unlike the Romans, they conquered Britain and made it their home. They were the forefathers of the English people and ancient Anglo-Saxon language, which served as the foundation for the current language. English and Saxon resided near the coast of Sweden and Denmark before coming to Britain. Next is the famous literary works. Many literary works were published anonymously in this age, or no one knows who the author was. However, the two writers were influential in Anglo-Saxon era, Caedmon and Alfred the Great. Caedmon was an Anglo-Saxon poet recognized as the father of ancient English. He was also recognized as the earliest English Christian poet, whose incomplete ode to the creation remains a symbol of adaptation of the aristocrat heroic Anglo-Saxon poetry tradition to the presentation of Christian ideas. And the second writer, Alfred the Great, was a king of Anglo-Saxon who sponsored the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle chronicling the life, history, and the language of the era. He was a king of the West Saxon. Towards the end of the 9th century, was renowned as translator of Cura Pastoralis, a guide to life and spiritual instruction. Next era is Medieval era. William the Conqueror. The Normans were Vikings who had landed along the coast of France. The local inhabitants dubbed them the Norsemen from Norway. They ultimately became known as the Normans. In the region they resided in became known as Normandy. Through a treaty with King of France, Normandy became Duchy of France, and its head was dubbed the Duke of Normandy. The reign of King Henry II, 1154 until 1189, murder of Thomas Becket. Henry II became monarch of Normandy and Anjou after the death of his father, Henry I. He married Eleanor of Aquitaine, the wealthiest heiress in Western Europe. In 1153, he went to England to pursue his claim to the throne, securing an agreement to replace Stephen on his death, which occurred in 1154. Richard I, Richard the Leonhearted. Richard was the son of King Henry II and Queen Eleanor of Aquitaine. He spent most of his boyhood at his mother's court at Poitiers. During the latter years of Henry's reign, Queen Eleanor continuously plotted against him. Encouraged by their mother, Richard and his siblings fought against their father in France. King Henry was beaten in battle and surrendered to Richard and died early in July 1189. Richard was appointed king on 3 September 1139. King John of England, Magna Carta. In 1199, King Richard died and John became king. Monarch John is better known as the king who was compelled to agree to the Magna Carta, a set of rules he had to follow granting rights to people. Edward III. Edward III, who led England into the Hundred Wars with France, was the son of Edward II and Isabella of France. Edward himself became the king in 1327 after his father was overthrown by his mother and her lover, Roger Mortimer. Isabella and Roger governed in Edward's name until 1330 when he killed Mortimer and banished his mother. Henry IV. Henry was born on 6 December 1521 at Windsor Castle. He was just 9 months old when he succeeded his father, Henry V. He was proclaimed King of England in 1529, and consequently his father triumphed over the French, King of France in 1531. A regency council governed England until Henry was judged old enough to reign in 1537. Next is Richard III. Richard III of England ruled as king from 1583 until 1585. Richard succeeded Edward V of England, the son of Edward IV of England, under strange circumstances. The young Edward V and his brother Richard were imprisoned in the Tower of London by their uncle Richard, Duke of Gloucester. The guardian as protector of the realm, the prince in the tower, as they become known, were never seen again. Duke Richard declared himself king in 1583, but widely suspected of killing his nephew and unable to unify his noble behind the crown. His reign will be brief and turbulent. The dynastic squabbles between the houses of York and Lancaster, known to history as the War of Roses, ultimately came to an end in terms of significant events, with Richard's death at the Battle of Bosworth in 1585. Henry Tudor, a distant relation of Edward III of England and Victor of Bosworth, who became King Henry VII, 1585 until 1509. The Plantagenet dynasty of rulers, which had started with Henry II of England, was ultimately ended and the new Tudor dynasty began. Next is the characteristic of medieval era. First, kings and rulers. During this historical period, there were quite a few kings and rulers that came and departed. For example, the Norman kings, William I, Plantagenet kings, Henry II, monarchs of England and Wales, Edward I, House of Lancaster, Henry IV. Second is government feudal system. The government was built upon a feudal basis. The feudal system had a very defined caste structure, and there was no movement from between the ranks. Or the monarch, lords, and dukes, or the affluent upper class, held the land within the feudal system. When they invaded England, King William grabbed all of the lands in the nation. To achieve this, he handed vast sections of the territory to noblemen, including the clergy, lords, and barons, in return for their raising his money and an army. Next is law of primogeniture. During this historical, the law of primogeniture was also established. This is the notion that the firstborn had exclusive right to inherit the land, titles, and state from his father. The serf and the peasant were not entitled to inherit anything. They had nothing to inherit. The land was held by kings, lords, and dukes, and kings, lords, and dukes also owned them. So when a monarch went away, his land and the serf who farmed that land became the property of his firstborn son. Next is Christian morality. Life during the Middle Ages was defined by the power of church and the Pope in general. They used to tell people that they were born to prepare for their death. Next is language. When the Normans conquered England in 1066, there were tremendous linguistic and cultural changes. Four languages altogether coexisted at the same time. Latin, which was the language of learning and theology, French, which was the language of nobility and business and politics, which was somehow intermingled with English for the ordinary people, and even the Celtic language in the various areas, the island of Scotland, Ireland, Wales, and Wales. Next is religion. Religion at that period was highly significant and influential. Therefore, God was the center of everything. They used to educate people how God intended them to live, do well in life, worship Him, and work for the judgment. For instance, in the allegorical drama Effimen in the Italian Dante Alighieri, these two instances are that literary works of that period connected mainly to religion. Next is chivalry code. One of the cultural norms in the medieval era was chivalry code, a moral system for medieval knights that stressed concepts like honor, knightly virtues, quality love, and carrying big weapons. Next is famine and plague. The long perspective of the era from 1300 to 1585 saw climate and demographic change were probably significant drivers of change in Britain and Ireland. Next is the major authors and works. Whether in what we call now the Middle English, did not necessarily write in English. The language was instead of flux. Attempts were made to assert the French language, keep down the local language, English, and make the church language, Latin, the language of writing. The significant development of writing comes more than a century after Lymon's birth and confirms the variety of possible changes for literature. Next is Renaissance era. Renaissance signifies rebirth from around 1500 to 1600. The world was renewed in various ways. The Renaissance began in Italy, notably in art and architecture, in the 15th century. As England became the most powerful nation in Europe in the late 16th century, new worlds were explored and new ways of seeing and thinking evolved. Columbus found America in 1592. Copernicus and Galileo made a significant discovery about the heavens and planets, and Ferdinand Magellan traveled worldwide. The Renaissance was global. There was a significant upheaval in religion and politics in England when King Henry VIII appointed himself the head of Church of England. Next is characteristic. Both the Elizabethan and Jacobean periods in the history of English literature are sometimes known as the Age of Shakespeare. This period represents the golden age of literature. The first characteristic is political peace and stability. Elizabeth successfully formulated and pursued the policy of balance and moderation both inside and outside the country. A working arrangement was established with Scotland. The rebellious northern barons were held in control. She thus could successfully build peace in commonly troubled border areas. Under her excellent leadership, the English national life swiftly and steadily advanced. Next is social development. It was a period of tremendous social satisfaction. The fast growth of industrial cities offered work to many. Increasing trade and business enriched England. The rich were taxed to access the improvised. This provided the climate for literary endeavors. Next is religious tolerance. It was a period of religious tolerance of peace. Upon her accession, she found the whole nation divided against itself. The north was predominantly Catholic, whereas the south was strongly Protestant. Scotland pursued the Reformation vigorously. Ireland followed its ancient traditional faith. It was Elizabeth who made the Anglican Church a reality. Next is sense and feeling of patriotism. Queen Elizabeth loved England fiercely, and she made her court one of the most magnificent courts in Europe. The magnificence of her court captivated the eyes of the populace. Her moderate policies did much to improve her popularity and status. Next is discovery, exploration, and expansion. This is the most fantastic period for the expansion of both mental and geographical horizon. It was an age of great thinking and massive action. It is an age that appeals the sight, the imagination, and the mind. Next is influence of foreign fashion. Italy, the home of Renaissance, captivated the Elizabethans. All loved to visit Italy and remain there for some time. People were not only fond of the Italian books and literature, but also Italian manners and morality. Next is contradiction and set of opposition. It was a period of enormous diversity and paradoxes. It was an age of light and darkness, reason and unreason, wisdom and folly, of hope and despair. Next is the major author of the era. First is William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare was the finest playwright of the age. Born in 1564, he was an actor and a poet, but is most known for his plays. He also created tragedies and comedies, and Shakespeare became one of the most well-known playwrights in England. Some plays he is best known for are Hamlet, Romeo and Juliet, Midsummer Night's Dream, Twelfth Night, and Henry V. Next is Miguel de Cervantes. Miguel was a prominent Spanish writer during the Renaissance. He created several plays and works of literature, including novellas Ejempradas in 1613. However, Cervantes was not generally known until the publication of his most important poem, Don Quixote de la Mancha. Next is Niccolo Machiavelli. Machiavelli was a diplomat in Florence who sought to answer how a ruler could ensure that he would stay in power by publishing The Prince in 1513. Next is famous work. One of the most famous work on the period is Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. This tragedy about two young lovers is one of the Shakespeare's most famous work, combined with Hamlet. Next famous work is Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli. It is a work released posthumously in 1532, 5 years after the death of Machiavelli. It is regarded as a classic work in political science and a highly creative political treatise. Next is Hamlet by William Shakespeare, written between 1599 and 1602. This play by Shakespeare is about Prince Hamlet and his retribution against his uncle Claudius, accused of murdering Hamlet's father. Next period is Revolution and Restoration. Charles I was the first king of England. In January 1649, King Charles was put to death. He was Britain's highest monarch, ruling over England, Scotland, and Ireland. However, Parliament admired him for his reasonable idea known as divine king's right. Charles II established the monarchy. Charles' first son, Charles II, restored the monarchy once again in 1660. A variety of key historical events contributed to the monarch's development. Next is characteristic of the period. Poetry. The heroic couplet is a kind of poetry in which each line contains 5 intense stresses in each second syllable. Every two lines rhyme with each other was the most popular form of poetry during the Restoration period. Next is drama. During the Restoration period, comedy of manners was the most popular type of play. This type of theater typically saw affiliation, thoughts, intrigues, and numerous love affairs among the upper class at the period. Next is prose. This time was characterized by the use of logic rather than imagination. Next is the famous work of the era. John Dryden was a dramatist, critic, and satire. His poems represent the political and religious changes that have occurred since Puritan times and Dryden's erratic posture. Next is William Congreve, 1670 until 1729 was the best Restoration period skit playwright. He was highly influenced by Molière, a French writer, and satirized by the view of time. Next period is 18th century. The Augustan Age, the Neoclassical Age, and the Age of Reason have all been used to describe the 18th century in English literature. It was known as the Augustan Age because literature writers at the time were consciously imitating the works of the original Augustan writers Horace and Virgil, who lived during the reign of Augustus, the first emperor of Rome, and was widely regarded as a golden age, similar to the period of Roman history when political stability and power as well as flourishing of the arts were achieved. That century was also known as the Pope century. The century was known as Pope century because Pope was the most powerful individual. Dryden and Pope lived during the Augustan period. The beginning of Augustan Age was marked by the restoration of the Stuart monarchy in 1660. Next is the characteristic of the period. The classical period. This period is known as the Classical Age because reason took over emotion. Social convention took precedence over individual conviction and form over the content. Second is rule of thumb. This era, writers were bound by a set of norms and ideals. Number 3, age of reason and common sense. Because it was built on the sound sense ideal of French critic Boileau, the period is also known as the age of reason and good sense. The 4, taught on religion and philosophy, respectability and design compliance were essential to the Augustan. They were concerned about Elizabethan age, a limited imagination, and overflowing zeal. 5th, the effect of the Fronde. The expanding influence of French literature influenced the literature of the 18th century. 6. Nature took over. The concept that literature must follow nature was a defining feature of the period. Pope urged his contemporaries to be inspired by nature, an explanation of contemporary culture. The period writing was preoccupied with the follies and foibles of the time. Literature evolved into an interpretation of life, particularly in the social and political cycle of the time. 8. Satire. Satire is the literary art of rendering a subject absurd and arousing attitudes of pleasure, derision, or indignation toward it in order to degrade or denigrate it. 9. Dictionary of Poetry. Poetry's language grew flamboyant and inane, and standard English was excluded from poetic writing. The last, heroic couplet, lambic pentameter, heroic couplet lines rhyme in pairs A, B, B, C, C, and so on. Due to widespread use of such couplet in heroic poems and plays, the adjective heroic is used. Next is the major author of the era. First is Alexander the Pope, was the most prominent person in 18th century. He was the poet who embodied his century. He was the only poet who captured practically all of the essential elements of the classical school of poetry in his work. He was the rationalistic and stylist age high priest. His major works are an essay on criticism, the Temple of Fame, Vision, and Eloisa to Abelard. Next major author is Jonathan Swift. Jonathan Swift was a humorist and author from Ireland. He was the dean of St. Patrick Cathedral in Dublin and is best known for writing Gulliver's Travels. He was an Irish satirist, cleric, and novelist. Jonathan Swift grew raised without a father. He earned a bachelor degree from Trinity College. His major works are Gulliver's Travels, A Tale of Top, and Modest Proposal. Next author is Daniel Defoe. After a varied and frequently continuous writing career, Daniel Defoe transitioned into continuous prose fiction later in his career. The wide range of interests he followed in all of his side projects, many of which cannot be credited to him with any certainty, left an indelible mark on his more lasting accomplishment. His major works are Moll Flanders, Captain Singleton, and Memoirs of Cavalier.